This is Isabella Breda, the editor-in-chief of The Echo, Cal Lutheran's student newspaper. Cal Lutheran received an accreditation visit by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges Senior College and University Commission in December 2020. The organization provided the university with a letter as a formal notice of accreditation in early March, including several action items for the university to tackle before the next WASC visit. Our reporter, Shandell Friedman, got the chance to connect with Dr. Tybal Andy, the Associate Provost for Educational Effectiveness, to get some insight on how the university is addressing the action items outlined by WASC. Welcome, Shandell.
Hi, I'm Shandell. I'm a junior. I'm class of 22, and I'm a student reporter at The Echo.
Cool. Well, welcome. This is your first time on the podcast.
Amazing.
So, you wrote about WASC's visit, specifically the letter that they sent the university after coming. If you could tell us a little bit about what WASC is.
WASC is basically an organization that goes all over and accredits different universities. I like to think about it as kind of like a checkup or a check-in for the school to make sure that they're doing everything properly in order for the school to function properly. And it's just an organization that goes from school to school and sees any areas that they might need to improve on, any areas that are need to be changed or were fixed in relation to everything that's going on in the world at a specific time, and to make sure that all the universities are on the same page as far as resources for students and other things like that.
Cool. And so they've been to Cal Lutheran many times before. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what the purpose of their visit was in December.
The purpose of their visit was to just, again, do a quick checkup of the school, or a check-in, to put it simply as possible. It was just to check how the school is doing, what areas we need to work on as a school regarding administration, student body, other things like how can we make it better for students? How can we, look at the curriculum? Do we need to change anything? Just generic stuff that just makes the university better and will make the future of the university better.
Yeah, and I think something to note there is starting in 2016, I think it was that WASC visit when it was outlined in their letter after that visit that the university should evaluate diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. And this was something that came up again in the March 3rd letter. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that.
So when I spoke to the provost for academic effectiveness, he told me that one of the notices of concern, because that's what they call the more critical / negative things, they call those notices of concern. So he told me that one of the major notices of concern was of inclusion, equity, and diversity within the school, and how we have made strides since 2016 in relation to everything that's going on, but because, stuff changes every single day, and, more and more things are happening in the realm of diversity, inclusion, and equity, the school needs to still work on those things, both on student body, in resources, and administration also came up too.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's something that People of Color Collective in the fall, which is a faculty affinity group, brought up to the attention of the university, that there wasn't enough diverse representation at the higher level. But beyond DEI, what were some of the other main points that were outlined in the letter?
The main points were that he told me that it was mainly DEI, and what I gathered from it was that it was mostly concerning DEI, but it was also making sure that within DEI there are other things like resources for students of minority groups, resources for students with disabilities, resources within admin for administration of minorities or disability, and just kind of broadening that topic of DEI. I didn't really notice anything other than DEI. There was a lot of positive feedback saying that, the campus is, clean and other stuff like that. I also noticed that there was, mention of kind of like how our school is a group effort, but we do also have to work on, being more of an inclusive group. So yes, it was mainly DEI, and then specifically like certain people or certain groups that need to be brought into focus more.
Yeah. And then earlier you mentioned like the notices of concern. I think you're referring to like the areas of concern specifically.
Yeah.
But Cal Lutheran was accredited with a notice of concern. And so essentially what that means is that like, yes, we got accredited again, but there are things that we still need to work on.
Yeah.
And so I believe that they're coming back in the fall. Is that correct?
Right. They are coming back in the fall. And also, one of the other main points that I forgot to add is when I spoke to the academic effectiveness provost, he said that one of the ways that they're going to hopefully fix or repair this notice of concern is they're planning to hire a chief diversity officer who will oversee sections of DEI and make sure that certain groups and certain people are represented within that. He told me that they are looking for hires in the summer, so hopefully they'll have somebody by fall 2021 that'll be able to address those issues. They also said that they are looking at changing certain aspects of the curriculum too, to make sure that it meets the standards that were brought up in the letter and in the accreditation. And they are also looking to diversify admin at the notice of one of the administrators as well, because that administrator was part of a minority group and she felt like administration needed more resources in that way. So.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned in your article, or maybe Dr. Taiwo Andy said this, but there were the student-led protests and conversations that went on all spring 2020. And that in some ways guided where the university needs to go and has been going. Former President Chris Kimball was really responsive to the concerns that students brought forward. And after the students led that, then, as I mentioned, in the fall of 2020, the POC collective brought forward more concerns. Those needs were met to some extent, but the next step of that was ensuring there is representation both in the curriculum, because that's been an issue. I mean, people brought forward, students specifically, brought forward to the Board of Regents in spring 2020 that professors, like English professors, would make students read the N-word in like
in books and stuff. Yeah.
And now the idea is we're diversifying the curriculum in ways that's not going to encourage those types of things, but it's going to encourage people to really look at and emphasize diverse narratives in ways that the university hasn't in the past. And then the other position, again, will probably be a VP. And those searches, we've written about this semester, but those searches are going to sort of begin this semester and continue through the summer. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. President Varlata, I think, said that both of those positions were just repurposed. So there were two vacant positions that they're now refilling with these two people who are going to serve these DEI goals. And hopefully when the representatives from WASC come back, that will have to some extent met those action items. Yeah, I guess, is there anything else that students should know?
No, I don't believe so. But I will end with Dr. Onday said that if any of the students have any future concerns or even past concerns, they shouldn't be afraid to speak up or speak out, or if they see something that they don't think is okay, then they should feel comfortable enough to share those. And hopefully by doing that, we can become not only a stronger community, but also a stronger school. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Here's what else you need to know this week. Cal Lutheran resumed indoor in-person instruction Monday, March 29th. Students are required to provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test prior to attending any in-person courses. Students learning from home will be able to see their professors and any in-person students via OWL 360-degree cameras. For more information, check out the article Cal Lutheran to Pivot to Indoor in-Person Instruction March 29. Next thing you need to know this week. Cal Lutheran sports teams had a winning weekend March 26th through 28th. The Regal soccer team took down Redlands at Redlands March 26th, 2-0. The Kingsman volleyball team defeated St. Catharines in 2 matches at home, and the Regals basketball team beat the Redlands Bulldogs 73-61 in their home opener on Saturday. Live streams of most Cal Lutheran competitions are available at clusports.com. All of the news discussed in this podcast can be found at cluecho.com. Thanks for listening.